Ogwalapo hach siaya. Oh folks, good friends. Yaut Yashta seeds dot. Yaut Yashta is my Indian name. Lois Landgrebe seeds dot. Lois Landgrebe is my English name. To all a chud Tulalip. I am from Tulalip, and I'm speaking the Snohomish dialect, and I'm going to tell a story. This story is from Susie Sampson Peter, Tulalip Lushootseed, and it is called Beaver and Snake. Al toody to hawk, a shashlil ti ich stuck, a shashlil squo ti soqua but sats. So there was Beaver, and he lived with his younger brother Snake. On this one day, bush twal ti ich buck chad, they went for a walk. I gwaspi tub at si ich shashadai. And they ran into these ladies. At si ich quatad, at si ich wakwak. So it was Field Mouse and her younger sister, Frog. And so that's when Beaver went up and asked Quatad, "Oh, jagwas chafusi degui?" He asked her, "Will you be my wife?" And Quatad said, "Wait, hey cob chuff a spuck." She said, "You are too fat." And so that's when Stuck. Oh, he was upset. But Tsats hoigwal ich twal si ich wakwak. He made his way over to Frog, and he introduced himself in a proper way. So, but Sots chud. And he presented himself with a handshake, Kodachib. But that's when Quatad got in the middle of both her little sister and Sots and said, "Wait." And so that's when Stuck Beaver went over and said, "Asachid, why?" And that's when she said, "Sa'ach ti soqua." Said, "Oh, your brother has bad breath." And so that's when Stuck was very upset. So he grabbed his brother's hand and they went off. They went home. And Aschetzel, he was so very angry. So he told his brother to coil up on top of their house. All. This was an important house. And so that's when he sang his Wahad song. And so that's when Batsats knew there was trouble. This is his song. Yep, yeah, yo, yep, yeah, yo, yep, yeah, yo, cold. And so that's when it started to rain. Ukolb, hoigola. Oh, the girls looked around because they were digging for roots, and they stopped and said, So they thought, this helps the ground get softer. So their work was easier. And he did his second verse. Oh, yep, yeah, yo, yep, yeah, yo, yep, yeah, yo, ukob. And it started to rain harder. And that's when the girls went, uh-oh, maybe we did something wrong. And that's when the water started to rise. And Batsats coiled tighter around in his spot above their house. Oh, yep, yeah, yo, yep, yeah, yo, yep, yeah, yo, ukob. And so it rained so hard nobody could see 2 feet in front of them. And the water was rising. And then Stuck did his last verse. yip, yah-hee-yo, yip, yah-hee-yo, yip, yah-hee-yo, uko, 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 uko. The last drum beat was when their house broke off and started to float down the waterway. And that's when Stuck Beaver stood in the front, watching as their house floated past all the animals climbing up into trees and stuff. And that's when the ladies were climbing up into the tree, and they were looking and looking, going, we did something very wrong. And so that's when the house came up close towards Quat-Odd and Wuck-Wuck. And that's when Quat-Odd called out to Beaver, Ukwiatsa. She called out, oh, Stuck, Stuck, oh, hoi gwaspeed, chud. She goes, I'll marry you now. And that's when Beaver said, oh, a spuck, safe chud, I am still fat. And that's when he pointed to his brother and said, Sa'ach ti'ich de soqua. And my brother still has bad breath. And so that's when poor Quat-Odd, her twig that she was holding on to broke, and she sunk into the water. And that's when Wuck-Wuck called out to her, to Batsats, Snake, Batsats. And that's when Snake got out and started to ish twirl. He started heading towards her, and she started to swim to him, and then he opened up his mouth, buck to bah, and he swallowed Wuck-Wuck. And that was the end of those two ladies and the end of the story. Dich sois, the end. Uhoyof chud. Tigwitseed.